just want to say to all you motherfuckers out there, don't fake the funk, and it's not right to steal soul.
I'm Kasra, and I'm here in South London with Yasseen, who has been part of the Critical family for just over a year now, doing artwork on my EP projects. The Mecanique EP, which is the EP we'll be talking about today, is the third EP that I've done, and the third EP that Yasseen has worked on with me. What we wanted to talk about today was the artwork process that went into creating the visual side of the EP, because we feel, and we hope you do too, that it was a really interesting process and something a little bit different to maybe the norm, particularly in drum and bass. I'm really conscious of artwork and how the project and the package all comes together, particularly when you're not releasing what is necessarily club bangers, and you need, well, not necessarily need, but I feel the need that you should have a package that reflects what's inside, and the visual and the audio element really come together. So when I was coming up with the name for the EP, I was struggling for a lead track title. And me and my wife went to the Stanley Kubrick exhibition at the Design Museum in London, and a lot of that was centered around the Clockwork Orange. And the French poster for Clockwork Orange has the word Mecanique in it, which I believe, French speakers might tell me is wrong, means clockwork in French, or at least it alludes to being the same thing. And I really liked the way the word looked, not just in this font that Yasseen designed, but just the way it looked on the poster, and something about the nature of the tune and its kind of repetitive techno-esque nature, and it just kind of made sense to me. So when I approached Yaz about doing the artwork, that was one of the main talking points about where I got the inspiration for the title and the word and how we could incorporate that. Aesthetically, one of the things we both really love is the kind of raw, slightly lo-fi punk design aesthetic.
100%.
Which is something that I particularly love, and then kind of was lucky enough to find out that Yaz really liked as well. So we have a really nice contrast of like something that's really slick, but also something that looks a little bit rough around the edges, which is kind of maybe what the music's like as well.
Yeah, so how we kind of started the process was going to the Kubrick exhibition. And from there, kind of took a series of photographs of things in the show. So a lot of his kit, just kind of examples of his work. There was a lot of kind of little bits of detail and hand-drawn stuff, and all this like kind of crusty punk-esque type, which we wanted to incorporate into the cover as well. A big part of our process is kind of taking digital elements and repurposing them for analog. So we used a lot of textures and screenshots from the actual film itself. So these are stills from Kubrick films. So 2001: Space Odyssey. You know, so this, for example, a big part of our process was taking original bits from the film and kind of thresholding them and kind of making them a bit rough around the edges to create textures. So this texture was kind of created from this still, which was then used kind of in this way on the cover. So every single kind of detail on the cover has actually been made up from either screenshots from Kubrick's films or made up from textures that I've made from original photographs of Kubrick's photos and camera equipment in the show. So yeah, we kind of, on the front we've got white text with black. On the back we've got black text and white, and there's this theme of kind of like positive, negative going throughout the whole release.
And we really like Dead Space as well. If you look at the themes across the Focus on Love EP that we did previously, and the Ski Mask EP, which is the first one we did together, there's actually quite a lot of space. And I really like, I like negative space.
Yeah,
I like
100%.
having 100%. A lot of room for the kind of the artwork to really pop out and breathe.
Which is very rare for not just people who drum and bass, but just in general for artists that appreciate kind of negative space and have that kind of design consciousness, because a lot of artwork in music tends to be kind of overdone, very busy, very hectic, where Kasra has a really good understanding of kind of negative space and kind of letting the elements breathe and letting tight work. And yeah, it's just a really, really kind of fun process, and we took our time with it, and I think it's come out really, really beautifully.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, really, really happy.
Sure.
And then it's just the way that everything ties together that's really nice as well, is that we sort of took our time as well, because I think it's fair to say, Yaz, that you don't come from a record designing background.
No.
Which is something that in a way appeals to me as well, because when you have someone who's obviously very talented at designing and you get them to apply that to something they're not used to designing,
100%.
you get an interesting approach.
100%.
So we have a conversation where we don't just do the art and then say goodbye and then hand you the record. We talk about how the actual package is going to look as well, because it's how it all ties together. Because obviously the sleeve is very nice, but it's housing a record. So obviously we have the sleeve, but this is something I also really like, which kind of harks back to the kind of punk, kind of indie rock world that I have a particular passion for, and I know Yaz does as well.
100%.
Making the artwork into a little kind of poster card thing, which is, you know, in a way completely unnecessary, but also really nice.
100%. It's just this idea of like the physical, right? And creating something that has value and has meaning. And in this world of like digital releases, everything's so fast paced to actually like have a little print and have something physical to kind of take away with you, I think is nice. Yeah,
and then with the actual vinyl itself, down to the black paper inners, because they go really nice, and then blah, blah, blah. And then we did think about doing a one piece vinyl black and one white, and then we thought actually when you look at it that could look a bit too, kind of looks a bit contrived in a way.
Yeah.
So we went for this kind of clear vinyl which has black swirled through it, which kind of looks a bit smoky, which is really nice.
And it brings the whole release together. I think it gives it
and it's just a little different, like something that doesn't look. Quite a lot of things I like are like they shouldn't look like they work together, but they do. Like a lot of the music I like it feels like sometimes it might fall apart, or like it shouldn't actually necessarily work. And a lot of people would say probably a lot of the music I make sounds like it doesn't really work either, but that's aesthetically something that I think really is nice.
100%.
About bringing it together.
We just want to say to all you motherfuckers out there, don't fake the funk, and it's not right to steal soul.